morning. Good morning from the cutting garden. It's Saturday and I'm about to harvest for my Sunday farmers market tomorrow. And it's just starting to show some really good color back here. So we're gonna go and do a quick little harvest. This is stock and I can't remember exactly. I think I have a pastel mix. I am super happy with the amount of doubles that I have too. There are so many doubles. I also love the singles, but those doubles are just so fluffy and beautiful. Buster, good morning. Head rodent control officer is having a little coffee break. I'm gonna put mine down so that I can harvest some stock. Where are my clippers? Aha. So you might remember that I interplanted all of my stock with snapdragons and that's worked out really well. I actually harvested about a half a dozen snapdragons and I've taken maybe 15 to 20 of these stock for some bouquets that I've made throughout the week, but there is so much more. We had a heat wave this week and I was a little worried that I'd end up with all of these blooming within a week, maybe two, but there's a lot of smaller plants here that I'm still hoping that they will flower for me. And I do like to strip as I go. It's one less thing I have to do later. And then basically contributing to the mulch in my garden. Oh, I cannot tell you how good this smells. Oh, I've been waiting for these for months. They've done a pretty good job of holding up the snapdragons too, which I did not pinch because I wanted them earlier, but I do have another row over there. So these will bloom, and then once I harvest them, they're going to branch out, and then hopefully my second round will bloom within another couple weeks. I'm just going to fill one bucket to start, and then I'm going to a lovely friend's house who's offered me free rein of her large peony bushes, which is great because I've already used all of my peonies. And unfortunately, the peonies were just about ready to bloom during the heat wave and they all popped open really quick. So I was able to sell them all, but I wasn't able to put any in storage, so. That's lovely. I wish you could smell this. I'm trying to find some shade to get a better shot at these colors. Oh, there we go. So we've got this light lilac, lavender purple. There's an apricot, a peachy apricot color, and then this light buttery yellow. So I'm pretty sure this is a mix from Johnny's. It's a something pastel mix. Oh yeah. We're back from peony hunting. We found some, didn't we? Not too many, but there's some good ones in there. We also went for eggs and accidentally bought a pineapple. Well, pineapple and some purple Brussels sprouts. Because why not? And go put that on the picnic table. Look out for the spikies. Thank you. Perfect. We have sweet peas. I don't always grow sweet peas, but I'm so glad I did this year because they are gorgeous. And the stem length on them, I might actually be able to use these in bouquets. Or maybe even, oh, that's heavenly. Maybe even some little sweet pea bunches. But, so we went out and got the peonies. We didn't get a ton. We got enough to make it worth the trip, so that'll be fine. But it's been a few hours since then. It got hot, so I changed because I needed to cut the grass and do a bunch of other things. But it's cooling off now, so I'm out here to finish the rest of my harvest. But I'm definitely going to take advantage of these sweet peas, even if all I do is keep them in a vase or a little jar on the table. I'm going to clear every usable stem that I have on here. Then we'll go check that feverfew. Oh, that smells so good. How sweet is this little bunch? So it doesn't look like a ton of color, but so many things are almost ready. We have straw flowers, a lot of straw flowers actually, this whole entire row. Not quite these cosmos. Now these came up kind of sporadically, so I just the other day stuffed all of the empty spaces full of snapdragons because I had a tray and nowhere to put them, so that worked out kind of well. We have yarrow. We have statice. Look at all that color. We're just starting to see color. And then there's larkspur in this row too. I got, I think, 2 or 3 stems today, but lots more coming. This is Rudbeckia. Nothing from that yet, but we do have some Rudbeckia coloring up in the front yard. Lots more statice. A whole row just of statice. Now at the end here, I also had something called rat tail statice. Oh look, there is some. This is called rat tail statice, and the photos were gigantic. There's a lot of buds. Yeah, see, this is looking really nice. Not nearly as big as I had expected. I may have just not read the description, or it may have suffered a bit. And actually, I know that it did, and the deer have nibbled in this little patch too and pulled out about half the plants. So stay tuned for the results of the rat tail statice. But the rest of it is gorgeous. And still lots of color in the stock and snapdragons, even though I picked, I think, 36 stems of stock. This is just a 12-foot row, by the way. It's not a lot of space here. And I know this is not flower related, but garlic scapes. We'll come back to those later. We also have some beautiful Asiatic lilies coming. We have some that are a really, really good height, some that are not so much. This is an oriental that I obviously planted in the wrong bed. Unfortunately, the rest of my orientals got eaten by deer. These poor things. I never thought deer would eat lilies. This is absolutely ridiculous. Aren't these supposed to be toxic? Luckily, a bunch of them have flower buds, but I don't know, I didn't count. More than 10 of these stalks have had the tops completely chewed off. And then I went and checked my big white, what are those called? I forget. Big, beautiful, giant white ones in the front yard. These are the Oriental hybrids, and a couple of them have been gotten too. So I do see a lot of flower buds, thank goodness. And this is not a problem for the actual plant. There's tons of leaves left over here, so this bulb is going to be totally healthy. It'll be more than fine for next year. We just won't get any flowers this year. We had to take a brief pause because as I was talking about deer problem, I saw a bunny run across my driveway. So ignoring the potential large bunny issue, we're going to go and get some lavender next. All of my lavender is budding up. I always sell bundles. Now, oh, actually, before we go to the front yard, I've just managed to get my hands on this here. This is phenomenal lavender. And I got little ones because I wanted to get a couple of them. But once this grows up and flowers, it's easily double the size of all the other varieties that I have. So I believe this one is still patented. I'm not going to be able to propagate it. I have to do my reading on that, do my due diligence, but I am preparing a spot to plant these. I have 2 of them that are going to go somewhere in the front yard. This is sort of my holding zone at the moment. I need to water those cucumbers. So I have a bucket. We're going to go get a whole bunch of lavender. Perfect. Cutting the plant this hard won't hurt it one bit either. As long as you leave some amount of green, it doesn't have to be lots, it'll be fine. I'm not shearing them completely clean because I like to leave a little bit for pollinators, but once the flowers I do leave fade, then I'll come through and give it another light haircut just to clean it up. All right, so that's a good start. Found some greenery there. There's obviously water in that jar. I just want one less thing to carry indoors. That is a nice smelling bucket. So I've started packing the car a little bit already. My tables actually usually stay in there full time. As far as packing the car the night before, There's a couple things that always stay in here, and those are my 2 market tables. They're pretty heavy. It would be a pain if I had to bring them in and out. Now, if we had a garage, that would be one thing, but we don't. So these 2 tables stay in here all the time. They're just folding white plastic tables, 6 foot, I think. Yeah, 6 feet. I just put my tent back in. I have a chair. My tent and the canopy, the top of my tent, is in this bag here. I don't leave it on because it's really hard to get it back in this bag with the top on. My sign stays in there too. That's all the big stuff, and that means I can now go inside and pack up all the small stuff. Forgot to check the feverfew. There we go. There are 2 varieties in here. This is Tetra White. All of that overwintered from last year, and then this one is Magic Lime Green. Actually, I think everything that is flowering right now has overwintered from last year, because I think what I planted this year is a different variety. So these would be the ones that I just put in this spring to fill in the holes of what did not come back. I think I do see a few stems that are ready, so let's grab some of this, and then that really will be everything. Feverfew can be notorious for wilting if you cut it too early, but I do think that some of these are ready, if I can reach. Ooh, that's a good one. So this is the Tetra White. I love this variety. We are having a lot of pest issues this year. We normally don't get any issues from deer, and between, I suspect it's a deer, I don't know for sure, between the deer and those rabbits, which I have seen. Actually, that's a lie. I did see a deer in the garden the other day. So yeah. Anyway, let's get these indoors. Good morning. Gotta pack the car. It is 8:25. This is not an early market, and it's only a 5-minute drive away. Almost forgot to open up the greenhouse before I leave, and it is not supposed to be sunny today, but you never know. It doesn't take long to heat up if the sun pops out for even just a few minutes. Nothing needs water. Yes, those tomatoes have been in here for a really, really long time. I've got some pumpkins under there that are desperate to be planted too. Not as bad as it was though. Next succession of zinnias, some gomphrena and celosia, all of my basil, and some asters. And there is that new lavender. So we are all set. This market starts at 10. It is about 8:30 now. It's a 5-minute drive, and there's no real reason to be set up super early, but it's in a public park, so we do tend to get a lot of early shoppers, usually starting around 9:30. Plus, I like to make bouquets, and I'll bunch all that lavender when I get there. I prefer to do that when I'm there because it's not a crazy busy market, so I do have time to do that. It's nice to have things to do while I'm there. Otherwise, I'm just going to be standing there and getting bored during the lulls. So let's head to the market, and we should be mostly set up by about 9:15. all set up. I bunched a little bit of lavender. I made a couple bouquets, and I'm going to make a whole bunch more before I sit down and take a little coffee break. It's not raining yet, but it's supposed to later on this afternoon, so I'm really hoping we have a good day. Well, it's about 11 a.m., which means it's 1 hour into the market, and except for a vendor ordering a special 45th wedding anniversary bouquet. So I made it a little larger than my normal $20 bunch. Except for that, I have not sold a thing. And that is really unusual, actually. I normally do most of my sales between 10 and 12. So I know there's a really large festival happening in a nearby town. We're also down some vendors because of that, but hopefully this will pick up a little bit soon. Well, that was a long day. We realized halfway through the day that there were two pretty large festivals happening nearby within a half an hour. One is really, really big, and the other one was a pop-up market that's pretty popular. That was, I think, only 10 minutes away. So all of our food vendors were there and a bunch of our other regular vendors. So it was a smaller than usual market, and that took the majority of our crowds. Now, I did end up selling a little over $100, which is low for this market. And it is a small market. I mean, I'm not going to go there and sell, $1,000 worth of flowers. On a good day, it's around $300, and it's 5 minutes from my house. My costs are very low, and I'm happy with that, especially since this is not a full-time job. I'm not a florist. I'm a market gardener. I do market bouquets. I have a bunch of lavender left over, which I'm going to dry. That's not a problem. I like to dry some anyway. And I have 4 bouquets left over, but I've already called the yoga studio that I bring flowers to on Friday, and they're more than happy to take my leftovers. And they usually do sell out pretty quick. So I'm sure I will sell those leftover bouquets. Now with the lavender though, I was talking to a local business owner, came and introduced herself to me saying she makes local ice cream. And I actually bought some of hers from a local store yesterday, and she's doing, it's not ice cream, sorry, it's sorbet, so dairy free. And she was looking for fresh local lavender to make a new sorbet recipe, including lavender. So that's a business that I have actually been supporting, that I buy from, and she's going to be using my lavender in her sorbet. So it's always nice to make connections like that. And I'm avoiding getting out of the car because it's raining and I have to unload everything, and I don't know where I put my raincoat. It's probably in the trunk. So I'm cold, I'm damp, I have to unload the car, but at least those bouquets will hopefully not go to waste. Actually, if I'm bringing them to the yoga studio later, I'm going to leave them in the car, and that's one less thing to unload. So the lesson is that small town farmers markets are definitely not a slam dunk, and I have a lot interested in this market. I'm on the board of this market, so I'm actively trying to promote and grow the market. And there are a couple of us actually who bring flowers there, and the other flower vendors are significantly cheaper than me. So that is something that is on my mind. Do I make smaller bouquets? Do I stick to the $20 price point? I do have a lot of dedicated customers. I'm really going to try to do the make your own bouquet side when I have a lot more flowers to bring. That's going to be an idea for when I have more flowers for sure. I just don't quite have enough. I'm going to leave it at that so that I can unload the car and go have some food because I am starving, and probably tea because I am chilly. Hope for a better day next week, but for now, that is my day at the farmers market. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.